Here's an example of circling with prescribed tracks. This is the circle to land operation at Podgorica, Montenegro. We're going to fly the ILS Yankee approach to runway 36 and then circle to land on runway 18, following the published circle to land using prescribed tracks procedure. You'll find it useful to have the approach charts for ILS Yankee and the circle to land available as you watch the video. The video starts overhead Podgorica VOR, Papa Oscar Delta, with the runway in sight at the bottom right of our view. The aircraft's descending from 3,500 feet on a track of 159 magnetic with an airspeed of 180 knots. Here in Podgorica there's high ground around the airport with an MSA of 9,900 feet to the east and 8,500 feet to the north. Following the prescribed tracks will keep us clear of the high ground, even at night when we wouldn't be able to see it. Our minimum descent altitude for a Category C aircraft is the circling minimum of 900 feet. We're not using the MDA as a decision altitude, so there's no need to add any increment. We'll follow the glide slope down to the MDA and then fly level. If we don't have visual reference to the divergence point, then we're going to follow the missed approach procedure for the ILS. If we have visual reference at the divergence point, then we can follow the prescribed tracks for the circling part of the approach. Now we're starting the base turn for the ILS procedure at 1,740 feet. In this example, we're flying the instrument final approach at 150 knots. It's a 3.2 degree glide slope, the wind's calm, the temperature's around ISA, so we've calculated the required rate of descent is 850 feet per minute. To achieve our continuous descent final approach, we're going to establish an intermediate approach configuration before the final approach fix, and then maintain that configuration during the descent on the instrument final approach. We're intercepting the localizer at the intermediate approach altitude of 1740 feet. As we reach the final approach fix at 7 DME from Papa Oscar Delta, we can cross-check the glide slope and start descent. We level off at the MDA of 900 feet. Approaching the divergence point, we need to have visual reference with the runway or the runway environment. We have that today, so we transfer to the circle to land chart. The chart shows we need to make a right turn onto a track of 038 magnetic. Even though we're in visual conditions, we mustn't descend below the MDA until we're in a position to make a normal descent towards the touchdown zone. There's high ground ahead of the aircraft, so it's important to follow the prescribed track. The cue for the downwind turn is the 112 radial from Podgorica VOR. We're now downwind following the prescribed track of 360 magnetic until we cross the 074 radial from Podgorica VOR. Approaching the base turn, we establish landing configuration and reduce to final approach speed, which in this example is 130 knots. We have visual reference with the ground for this manoeuvre, so to satisfy the stabilized approach criteria, we need to ensure that we're fully configured with the correct rate of descent, power and trim set by 500 feet above the runway at an altitude of 620 feet. We're going to fly the final approach with a standard 3-degree glide path. Our MDA is only 780 feet above the runway, so we'll descend from MDA when we're about 2.5 miles to the landing threshold. We roll out on final approach north of Podgorica VOR with about 1.5 miles to touchdown. The runway perspective on 18 is different to 36. We're flying a 3-degree approach and there's a slight downslope on the runway.